Hey, what's up? A while back I did a video of how to raise the height of your garage door tracks and have it go up higher before it turns in. Reason why is I have a lift in here. I can do that, and that's nothing new, no new technology. It's just I had the springs that, let me show you the spring. These kind of springs that ran this way on each side, and I had a tough time trying to figure out how to get the garage door to lift up, with it not having a lot of weight. That's the idea of these things. It takes weight off the garage door. And I wanted to use my electric opener. That was the trick. So I put the electric opener, I was trying to figure out a way to remount it, and I mounted it on the side. Now the only difference I had in how it operated was, besides it being on the side, was that I had to figure out how to get the tensions of the springs to get it to pull up high enough and roll in. It was a hard task. I finally ended up with only a spring on this side, no spring on that side, which meant the garage door opener was actually pulling all the way to the garage door from this side at least. And someone had pointed out to me that it's not a good idea because the gears in these new openers are made out of nylon, and they could strip and the door can come down. So I thought about it, and I thought, well, I'll just come up with another idea eventually, get rid of that problem. So I was going to use an automotive winch, and I was going to use it in the same spot, right in the center, where I've rigged this pulley system up. And I decided not to use it because of its strength. And if it malfunctioned, it could basically, because it's mounted up there, if it malfunctioned in the up direction anyway, it could rip the garage door right out of its tracks. And that's not really cool. And I was going to make an electric lock system using lock actuators from door lock systems, because they're both 12 volts, so I needed something that would be 12 volts, and it also would have a reversing polarity to it. So didn't do that. What I did was I came up with another idea to use my electric opener in the center like I used to, but instead of just coming down to a pulley over here, it would come across this beam and mount to this pulley, and it worked perfectly. The garage door opens dead center now. That problem's gone. Problem still exists, however, of how to hook up springs. I tried a whole bunch of different ways, different tension springs. I can use two now because it's pulling in the center, but I still had a tough time getting it to work right. So I ended up coming up with this idea, and I'm using counterweights. And you can probably see this here. This was a gift for my 8th grade graduation. I am a hoarder, and I should have thrown these out years ago. Every time I looked at them, I said, no, you can't do that. It's your 8th grade graduation gift. My mom bought me this 110-pound weight set from Kmart. So I found this perfect for the counterweight. And what it does is it allows, I'm using, instead of springs, this counterweight system, and it's going around pulley over to here, comes down the center like the center pull. And the garage door has, you can pull, it has, because the counterweight's pulling it up, it acts as springs. So that works really well, and other than that, the locking system, I'm using an electric locking system that I saw another person use. I think he might have been from England. You know, he has a different sound than I do. And so a couple people said, where do you get the actuator for it? It's using a house current, like 115, 120 actuator. And I forget the place they said you can get it at, but I dug around until I found one, and I found it on Granger, and I'll give you the number as we cover. I want to cover a little more detail. I'm not going to show how to hook everything up in here because everybody's garage door is different. I'll just show you mine in operation and how it works. And of course, I'm going to do a couple little modifications here and there. I want to make this a little bit beefier up here. Not as far as the beam, but it does tend to just shake a little bit. I really don't think it can go anywhere, but I just don't want it to move, period. So I'll probably just modify that, be no big deal. But the lock system, I don't like making videos on stuff that everybody has done already, like how to make applesauce or split a piece of firewood, unless you got some new trick to it, make it more efficient or something totally different. But the lock mechanism he used, I think he was using a piece of round stock. I'm going to use an existing lock that you can buy for your garage door that would have went here and poked through a slot in your garage door like here. And the only difference is it's going to be on the outside now going in, and it's going to block one of the rollers going up. So here's the garage door in action. You can watch the counterweight coming down. It works really nice, and there we go. We're going to do the other direction now. Take a closer look at everything. Here's our counterweight going in action. And that's going down. It's going to go to the floor. Like I said, it's going to go up around these pulleys and back down to the garage door. So opposite way now. Same thing. Over. There we go. And as far as the garage door opener itself, let's take a look at that now. So we have our typical garage door opener. I think, like I said, it's Chamberlain. There we go. Sorry about that. And it mounts to the center of the ceiling. It's coming down probably, I don't know, 6, 8 inches, maybe about 8 inches. And then it comes over there in the end. We're hooking a cable on to where the lift mechanism would have normally been, and the cable comes down to that pulley there and goes around and it continues down all the way to the bottom of the garage door. Alright, and then hooks on just an eye bolt that I drilled through and then cut off whatever stuck out at the other side. So let's watch it in action. And there we go, going up. Garage door's coming up. And you can set your limit tensions on most of these garage door openers. And the opening, which I was able to get the opening just right so it's fully opened. And there we go. So let's take a look at the lock mechanism now. Okay, so here's the door in action. So here's our lock mechanism again. And we talked about, and it's got a, let's see what they call it, solenoid laminated 1/8 to 1 1/4 inch continuous, like the 1 1/4 inch is the throw on it, and it says item is 21559-79015, and that's, I guess, I thought it had a different number, like 3100 or something like that. This is Granger, and I actually got it on eBay. Found them selling this on eBay, so of course it's easy if you're already using that. Just use your PayPal and it's all done. So how we're working this thing is, a couple things I did was, this is a typical everyday latch that goes on your garage door, and it slides from the garage door into the track. Well, it's going to go from the outside of the track towards the garage door, but not into anything on the garage door. It's just going to stop the roller from coming up, this piece here. So how that's going to operate is that when your light, it's going to operate by power from the light on the garage door. So you run a cord, run some wires, you got to open the garage door opener up. I think in this one is a Chamberlain. I think it was a white and an orange wire coming from, I think, the light socket from one side to the other, so it's obvious to find it. Make sure you find the right wires, otherwise it could be all kinds of trouble, including electrical shock. So it's 115, 120 volts, so be careful. It has to be insulated after you're done so you don't get a shock. This piece here is, I believe it's from a damper. It's intended for a damper for a furnace. It would pull the damper open, and it only pulls, it doesn't return. So there's going to be a spring that pulls it back, and by pulling it back, I mean pulling it out and blocking the roller from going up when it hits here. And when your garage door opener is activated, the power from the light will go down, power these two terminals up, and pull it back this way. Again, I didn't come up with this idea. I don't know if the other guy that I saw with it came up with it, but the only difference is I thought mine was simpler because I'm just using this existing opener, and I flipped it over and took out all this hardware and springs and things like that. So there's nothing in there to stop it or lock it. So it's just going to pull back by spring, and when the power goes in, it's going to pull this way. So basically what's going to happen is it'll be like this blocking the roller when you start, before you press your button on your garage door remote. And as soon as you press your button and your garage door, which would sound like this, the power is going to go into here, overcome the spring pressure, and pull back. Now this is a continuous solenoid. It's intended to be powered for a longer period of time than just a split second. And so it'll stay like that until the garage door light goes out, as the garage door is up in the air now. So let's just say that garage door light goes out, the spring will pull it back. Now we're going to push it back down again. It's going to go overcome the spring pressure, push back, pull back, and wait until the light goes out. Now the garage door is just about, there it is, it's down, and it would still stay like this until the light times out, and as soon as that light goes out, the springs are going to pull it back. Okay, so let's get it hooked up and take a look. You might want to go up to your unit and adjust your lifting tension. Now I don't need much closing tension at all because it closes basically by gravity. But what I want is the opening force reduced to the very minimum, so when it gets to the lock, in case the lock malfunctions and it doesn't draw back, I don't want this thing working hard against the lock to try to pull itself up. So I'm going to make it the minimum force to open it. So we're going to activate it. I'm going to lower it right now. And we're going to go through this process until I got to a point where it tries to lift itself but then quickly reverses. Then I need to add more lift tension. So that'll take a little bit. Okay, overall, couldn't be happier. I really like this project. It was fun. And everything works as planned. It works nice and evenly from the center now. With the cable lift in the center, also the cable lift, the cable counterweight lift to instead of springs. That all works great, and we're about to open it and bring the vehicle inside and watch the lock. Here we go. Now the lock will stay activated until the light goes out. However, if I don't like that, I can press this light button on the wall control, and it simply deactivates it instead of waiting the 4.5 minutes I think this particular mechanism takes. So again, I was real happy with this project, and let me have your comments, and thanks for watching.